Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the CFL DFS video for week number 8. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We'll be going through my weekly sheet, talking through all the relevant players, whether or not I would consider them a GPP play, a cash game option, a GPP paydown, a dart throw, and then kind of whether or not I'd be overweight or underweight to the field on each respective player. But without further ado, we'll get started with the Rough Riders. We're going to start off with Shea Patterson at quarterback. He's a GPP option if you want to get there, but I'll be underweight to the field on him. It's a tough matchup against Montreal Alouettes this week. He is coming off one of his best performances of the season. Trevor Harris obviously is still remaining on that 6-game injury list. He was expected to miss about 6 weeks with that knee injury. At running back, we got some pretty big news this week. AJ Alouette, $8,200, out due to hip injuries. So Frankie Hickson is technically listed as the starter. And then Thomas Bertrand Hudson is also there. So both of them are kind of GPP paydown options if you want to get that direction. Hickson would be the one that I would favor out of the two. And we could see some carries for Clinton Rakovich at fullback as well, who did have a couple last week. At wide receiver, Duncan Busby on the 6-game injury list. Practice in full all week, was listed as available, but he's not on the depth chart, so safe to assume that he's out once again this week. Alouettes had a really good week last week, so paid on option if you want to get there. Probably going to be underweight to him just because of that good week that he's coming off of. Mainly the only wide receiver that I want to get to once again is going to be Samuel Ellis at $4,900. Cash game option if you want to get that direction and overweight to the field on him. Keon Schaefer-Baker is going to be out this week due to a shoulder injury, and we do see Keyshawn Johnson back up on the active roster. He's on the depth chart, but he is not listed on DraftKings. Then we move down to that Rough Riders defense, $4,100 GPP option. They've been pretty good so far this season, in line with the field on them. A decent little matchup with Caleb Evans getting the start at quarterback for the Montreal Alouettes. There is no Cody Fajardo this week, so could be a little bit of upside to be had there at that. Then we move down to those Alouettes, and Cody Fajardo is out this week, was unable to practice all week due to a hamstring injury, was listed as doubtful, has been placed on the 6-game IL since that time. So it looks like Caleb Evans will be getting a start, $8,300 GPP option because of the rushing upside that he does have. Probably going to be in line with the field on him, maybe slightly overweight. We'll just have to see how that all shakes out this week. Then at running back, we got Walter Fletcher, once again, $8,800 GPP option. Probably just going to be in line with the field on him. But with that being said, I do see a pathway to getting to more of him this week. Probably leaning on that run game just a little bit more with Caleb Evans at quarterback. Then in terms of the wide receivers, we're just going to start out with Julian Grant. He's out this week. He did not practice all week due to a shoulder injury. Was listed as doubtful, has been placed on a 6-game IL. But Tyson Philpott, their stud wide receiver, $11,000. GPP option, slightly overweight to the field on him once again this week. And then the two guys I'd probably be looking at, Reggie White Jr., Cole Speaker, kind of pay down options there at $3,600, $4,500 respectively. Probably going to be in line with the field on Reggie White Jr., slightly overweight to the field on Cole Speaker. If you do want to get to some Charleston Rambo this week, it does make a little bit of sense. And then other than kind of those four, Nate Bahar was recently signed to the practice squad last week. He has been elevated for this week's game. He's at $3,000, but technically this is a backup behind Shedler Furvis, but we'll see how that all shakes out as the game moves along. And then for that Alouettes defense, $4,400 GPP option, probably slightly overweight to the field on them this week going against the Rough Riders. Shea Patterson at quarterback, no AJ Alouette at running back. Looks like a pretty favorable matchup for them just in general. Then we move down to the Calgary Stampeders. Jake Maier coming off a pretty strong game. GPP option once again, probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on him. Definitely do like the upside that he does have. Obviously does come with a little bit of risk, a little bit of downside on any given slate as well. And then we move down to running back, Dedrick Mills, $7,100. I kind of like that price tag for him overall, especially in comparison to all the other running backs. Although there are a couple backups playing this week, so a couple paydown options there. But if you're looking for kind of a mid-price guy, Dedrick Mills does make some sense. We'll be slightly overweight to the field on him. And then Peyton Logan behind him should operate as the return man in this game. Was very effective in that role last week. So $4,900 GPP paydown option if you want to go that direction. Then we move down to the wide receiver room. Clark Barnes is listed as questionable due to a shoulder injury that caused him to be limited in practice Tuesday and Wednesday, coming off one of his best games of the season though. And then we got Reggie Begelton, $8,400 GPP option. Probably going to be overweight to the field on him. Once again, he's starting to kind of turn around as of late. Rice and John, they're kind of big wide receiver, mainly playing special teams anyways, but still on that 6-game injury list. He was able to practice in full on Tuesday and Wednesday. Technically listed as available. We'll see if they activate him for this week overall. Mark and Michelle at wide receiver, $5,500. Coming off a down week, but GPP option, probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on him once again. Jalen Philpott had a really strong week number 7, $3,100. Pay down option if you want to go that direction. But I'll be slightly underweight to underweight on the field on him because I think a lot of people are going to flock to that big performance from last week. And then beyond him, if you want to take a shot on Cole Tucker with no Eric Brooks this week, if Clark Barnes is out, there is some upside to be had there. Probably would assume that, Trey Odoms-Duke or Cam Eccles-Looper would be active in that situation as well. And then for that Stampeders defense, $3,800. I think they're a pretty decent defense. Once again, we'll be overweight to the field on them going against the Alouettes Redblacks this week overall. Moving down to that Redblacks team, Jeremiah Masoli, $6,500 on that 6-game injured list, limited on Monday, full on Tuesday and Wednesday. Technically, this is available for this week, so we'll have to see what this quarterback situation looks like when that depth chart does get released, but not really interested in playing any of these guys at this point in time. At running back, we got Raquel Harmstead once again, $7,600, probably going to be in line with the field, maybe slightly underweight to the field on him this week overall. That price tag is starting to elevate, coming off not the best week for him last week, so definitely do have a little bit less exposure to him this week in general, especially with some of those backup running backs playing that do have decent upside at cheaper price tags. And then we move down into the wide receivers. We got Braylon Addison, $2,600. Pay down option if you want to get there, probably in line with the field on him once again this week. Justin Hardy, $10,200, really up there in price tag now. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field, maybe slightly overweight to the field on him this week just because BC Lions are not playing this week. I think that ownership will probably be a little bit higher for him because he's not competing with guys like Alexander Hollins and Justin McInnis in that same type of price tag. And then Khalil Pimbleton, $5,200 GPP option if you want to get there. I'll say in line with the field. The field was also a lot higher on him last week than I thought they'd be. And he does have a slight chance of returning this week just because Dedmon is out once again. And then I believe it was Tobias Harris who was doing some of the returning duties last week is also out for this week overall. I know they used another defensive back for a couple of returns last week as well. In terms of that Redblacks defense, $4,500. I think they're overpriced. GPP option if you really want to get there against the Calgary Stampeders, but will be underweight to the field on them. Then we move down to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Zach Collaros at quarterback, $8,900. Pretty good price tag for him overall, honestly. So GPP option if you want to get there in line with the field, maybe slightly overweight to the field on this week overall. And then at running back, we got Brady Oliveira, $9,500. GPP option will be slightly overweight to the field on him this week once again. Last week, he only came in at like 2% in the contest I was playing in, which was kind of a major surprise, and he was one of the top running backs once again. In terms of the wide receivers, we've got Nick Dominski, $6,900. GPP option will be slightly overweight to the field on him once again this week. Ontario Wilson having a pretty strong performance as of late, getting a good chunk of targets, $5,300. GPP option probably going to be in line ultimately on the field with him overall. And then we have Drew Walter-Ziski, $4,200. Pay down option if you want to get there. Slightly overweight to the field on him once again this week. And then we move down to that Winnipeg Blue Bombers defense, $3,600 pay down option going against the Toronto Argonauts, who have really struggled on offense as of late. So I will be overweight to the field on them. And then I'll mention Cody Case too. Opry is the return man for them last week. He's at $3,000 if you really want to get there. It's kind of a dart throw option, who was actually pretty good in that return role last week. Then we move down to the Toronto Argonauts. Obviously, Chad Kelly's still suspended. Cameron Dukes got benched last game, so we have no idea what this quarterback situation is going to look like. Arbuckle did play pretty good in relief of him, although he did have the one interception himself. So we'll have to see what that room looks like as we do get the depth chart and kind of as that game goes along, but not really interested in any of them at this point in time. Kadeem Carey, $9,300 GPP option if you want to get there. Probably going to be in line with the field, maybe slightly underweight to the field on him once again this week. And then in terms of their wide receivers, Rasheed Bailey, dealing with a head injury, wasn't able to practice on Tuesday, limited practice on Wednesday. And then two guys on the 6-game injury list, Kevin Meidel, David Unger III, have both been able to practice in full both Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll see if they ultimately come back this week or if it's still kind of, up in the air for a future week. And then for the wide receivers that we're kind of looking at here, DeMonte Coxie, $5,000 GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him once again. DeVaris Daniels, if you really want to get there at $6,100, I understand it. So it's kind of a GPP option, but I will be underweight to the field on him once again this week. And then in terms of Makai Polk, kind of a GPP pay down option if you want to get there. $2,600 does have a little bit of upside. I think he does maybe a little bit better with Nick Arbuckle at quarterback too as well, if that ultimately ends up being the case. And then for that Argonauts defense, $4,300 against the Blue Bombers. There is some potential there, but I will be underweight to the field and not really getting to them this week overall. And then last but not least, we move to that final game of the week between the Tiger Cats and the Elks. For the Tiger Cats, we got Bo Levi Mitchell, $10,400. GPP option at quarterback. Probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on him once again this week. James Butler at running back, $10,000. GPP option. Probably going to be in line with the field or maybe ever so slightly underweight to the field this week overall with that increased price tag. And then in terms of the receiving options, seemed like they were really trying to spread the ball around a little bit more last week. Shamar Bridges coming off his worst game of the season, $7,000. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. Stephen Dunbar has been pretty consistent, been pretty solid, $4,700. Kind of a GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him, maybe slightly overweight. And then Tim White doing a little bit better as of late, $9,900. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field, maybe ever so slightly underweight to the field just in general. Brendan O'Leary Orange on that 6-game injured list was able to practice in a limited capacity on Wednesday due to his hamstring injury. And then the other guy I'll mention here is Smoke Harris, the return guy. If you want to go with a dart throw on him at $2,500, you could definitely do that as well. In terms of the Tiger Cats defense, $3,900 GPP option if you want to go that direction in line with the field, going against this Elks team overall. And then we move down to that Elks team. We got McCloy Bethel Thompson at quarterback, GPP option at $10,000, slightly overweight to the field. We did get a Trey Ford sighting last week, which is kind of notable with Chris Jones out as head coach and GM. We'll see if he gets more involved or, maybe they move on from Dakota Prukup. And then we have Garrett Daggy, the other quarterback, on that 6-game injury list, but was able to practice on Wednesday in full due to his knee injury. In terms of the running backs, not really interested in Kevin Brown. Javon Lee, kind of that pay down option. Once again, if you want to get there, probably in line with the field on him at $4,300. Gets those return opportunities, getting a little bit of work in the running back game as well. And then in terms of the wide receivers, it's mainly just the big three for them. Once again, Curly Giddens Jr., Eugene Lewis, and Hergy Malala. I'm kind of in line on the field with Giddens and Lewis, probably overweight to the field on Hergy Malala. Maybe even a cash game option if you really want to get there this week overall. Not really interested in anybody else in that wide receiver room. And then we do get down to the Elks defense, $3,400. Pay down option if you want to get there. Probably going to be in line with the field on them once again this week overall, going against the Tiger Cats. Elks defense hasn't been the greatest so far this season, but, going against Bo Levi Mitchell, if they can get some turnovers against him, could be a little bit upside there at one of the cheapest price tags on defense on the entire week. And then last but not least, the BC Lions are the lone team on the bye. But with that being said, that is a quick little rundown on my sheet for week number 8. As always, if you have any questions related to CFL DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then with that being said, I will be posting all the depth charts down in the comments section of this video, as well as any major news regarding the CFL DFS slate. However, if you are interested in this sheet as it continues to update, as we get more injury news, as we get more depth charts and everything else like that, feel free to check out my Patreon page. Very small monthly donation over there. You'll get access to the sheet. You'll get access to some MLB DFS content too, if that's something you're into as well. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now we have MLB DFS in terms of the core pick videos coming out Monday through Friday. We got this CFL DFS video coming out typically on Wednesdays. So definitely a lot of great content coming out throughout the week. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Parlay Play, and Prize Picks. If you are a brand new user on any one of those 3 sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's 125% match up to $2,500 on your first 3 deposits in aggregate. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. And then if you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for this week's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day, no matter what day you're watching this on, a good weekend overall, and some pretty good luck in CFL DFS for week number 8.